And you're back on my channel. This is Heart once again, and we have another episode of Adulting 101 with, of course, what's your name again? With, of course, Chiz. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, darling.
Hi. Hindi na kita kilala.
Ganun?
Yeah, it's been how long?
Wala namang bagong tsinelas na malaki sa labas eh.
Meron. I was gonna talk to you about that. So, how have you been during the lockdown and with everything that's been happening?
Busy, given that I'm now the governor of the province of Sorsogon. I have to make sure that our province mates are well taken care of and are protected from this virus.
Kamusta naman yung family mo?
Okay naman yata sila.
Okay naman kami. Okay, so there's just so much going on now, and I thought that parang this would be perfect for us to do another sit-down talk with you. Aside from the fact that I really need you at this point in my life, and you've been away, and I think a lot
Parang nag-glow ka.
When I said that, yes, dear. And I feel na a lot of people also that are watching on YouTube who have seen our previous episodes are actually also curious on certain topics that we will be discussing today. Hindi niya review yung questionnaire, so bahala na siya. So let's talk about the internet.
What about it?
Not YouTube, because YouTube they're pretty chill on YouTube. Let's talk about like Twitter world, Instagram, and like all the ranting and all the everything, the chaos that's been happening on social media. Like for people, different generations are all like on Instagram now, on Twitter, talking about the different topics that's going on in the world and especially in our country. My first question would be,
Wala pang tanong doon?
Wala pa. Wait, no, sige. I want to hear your thoughts first dun sa, what do you think about the internet?
I grew up without the internet. We only used to play game and watch. It's this small device that's battery operated and there's only one game in it. My friends were my friends and I didn't get to see places that I did not actually go to unless I saw it on TV. Okay. Now through the internet, vicariously, you can actually live through a person, see the same things that the person is seeing. Kaya marami tuloy naiinggit. Having said that, suffice it to say that if it's too hot in the kitchen, then leave.
Yeah.
If you're out there, if you're parading yourself on the internet, saying things, doing things, showing things that you're doing, then you better take the good with the bad. Patay. If you can't, then don't.
Get out of the
chill
kitchen.
a bit of it.
Okay, so
Chill a bit.
Okay, like what do you mean chill a bit? Like
Then chill a
no,
bit.
Okay,
If it's getting to be too hot, then
chill a bit. Take a break.
Now, it's not all negative, neither is it all positive, so you have to take the good with the bad and learn to ride both.
Well, he does tell me that. He said that you know, you're out there, you're a public figure, and that's just part of it. And you can actually, you know, educate yourself from the different comments that you see, take the good and the bad.
Just like the movies, whenever you do a teleserye, whenever you do a movie, you don't get to please everyone. Some will really like what you did, your acting and everything. Some won't, and you will never hear the end of it as well with respect to their interpretation of their opinion of your movie.
Yeah, because this happens not just for people, not just for, you know, celebrities or artistas or politicians. This happens also for normal people that have social media.
Because the internet opened it up to everyone. Now you get to see someone who's not relatively known and will all of a sudden become popular because his or her video went viral.
Yeah.
Before, I used to memorize the names of the actresses, the actors, and the singers. There were only a handful of them. Now, you can't even count, and I don't know most of them anymore.
Okay, so my follow-up
Buti
question.
na lang nakilala kita mo.
Oo, nakita mo ako saan? Sa kabilang network. Waiting for my car.
Oo.
And then?
T-shirt ka na puti.
And then?
Tapos dumating yung shota mo.
You're married then. Charot! Where do you draw the line, okay, between freedom of speech and basically you're just out there to hurt somebody with your comments? Kasi ngayon, iba na. The generation is different. So they feel that they could say what's on their mind? I mean, what makes it, is there a wrong or right? I mean, what's the balance?
Well, now there's a law that says cyber libel is a crime. Before, libel could only be committed by writing a piece on the newspaper or for a newspaper or saying something on TV or radio. Now anything you post can be the subject matter of a cyber libel case. But in any libel case, the best defense would be, as they always say among lawyers, proof of the truth.
Okay.
So however hurtful your statement may be, you cannot be sued for libel if you can prove that what you said was true.
Okay, I see.
But
For example,
For example,
me.
For example, sabihin ko maganda ka o papatunayan ko maganda ka, hindi ako pwedeng demanda ng libel nun.
Yung ano naman, yung serious hit, yung ganyan.
I don't know, if they fault you for your acting and it falls under the category of an opinion.
Okay.
Then nobody's right, nobody's wrong. There's no such thing as it being a truthful statement or a false statement because it may be true as to him, but false as to another person viewing it who thinks that you
so
did.
parang if it's not a factual thing,
Exactly.
then
Exactly.
technically.
But also,
Oh, really?
yes,
But I mean, it's still happening. People are still people are still saying a lot of comments like they.
I grew up, I took
What
up,
if somebody says, "Oh, ane, opinion pa rin yun. Bobo ka, opinion pa rin yun."
that's his opinion. But for me, I took up political science and then law, so I subscribe to the statement that says, or the saying that says, I may not agree with what you are saying, but I will always defend to the death your right to say it.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can go ahead and say what you want to say, as long as I'm not affected by it, or even if I get hurt, I will never show you that I am, so as not to give you the pleasure of knowing that
I
I'm
love
affected.
that, actually. Sometimes that's my fault. I really do. I'm not as strong kasi as you eh. I mean,
It's not a question of being
I-
strong.
Oh.
It's a question of learning to look the other way.
Yun nga eh. Kasi sometimes when they say
Tuning
some...
off. It's tune off.
Hindi nga. Kasi nga minsan, super sakit.
I think ever since texting was invented and all the apps through the internet, for about 2 or 3 birthdays of mine, my birthday gift to myself was to simply leave my phone in the bedside drawer and not touch it.
Wow.
And that gives you the feeling and sense of freedom.
Although I do get that because I do like detoxify myself from the internet and social media. And I
Yeah,
think
learn
that's
to let
really,
go.
really good for your mental health.
Learn to let go.
Yeah, but
It's it'll give you absolute peace of mind because whenever there's a problem, you'll get to know it at night. Very much like how we used to live our life.
yeah,
We had a phone at home, you had a phone at the office, our school had only one phone.
yeah.
So if there were any problems, there was no way by which our house can call me while I was at school.
Yeah.
If you're working, from the time you leave the house until you reach the office, no, you're incommunicado. So that in a way gives you peace too. Here, now, whenever you are, wherever you are, people can actually reach you, whether for good or bad news, and it affects you one way or the other.
I guess because sometimes I feel like if I ignore, sometimes I feel that they feel like I'm looking the other way.
Even God rested for a day, babe. So you can always rest too.
Nga naman.
You can rest a bit.
I will take
A day or
rest.
two.
Charot.
A week or a month.
Okay, wait. Okay, although you said that you don't want it to come out that you're affected, but of course you are a human being, and even if like me, I don't really know what affects you because you're just like this all the time. But what was the most hateful comment that you have ever gotten?
I've
And
gotten anything
how-
and everything.
Like what?
Anything and everything, especially after we...
My God! Grabe ako kaya na-magnify yung
Ay,
life
grabe
ko
yung
dahil sa'yo.
panlalait sa akin nun.
Oh
Parang
my
ano naman to. Tapos yan, ay, ang tahimik ng buhay ko.
Ay, ako din. Tahimik lang buhay ko. All of a sudden, ganyan. Nako.
Name it, I've been accused of opposites. Either sobrang hirap sa sobrang yaman, either sobrang babaero or LGBT. I've been accused from being a drunkard to an addict, stupid, I mean everything. But I don't...
They also said that you were ano daw, ways up ka daw.
Ano na?
Waze app. Oh my God,
does that
Waze,
mean?
you should totally hire Chiz to be the voice of
What
Waze.
does that mean?
I love it.
Yeah, I heard that too. That's less hurting than
I like that actually, because you're a guy.
turn right.
Turn right. Turn left. Naku po. Doon si Ibayo. Ano? Okay. So how would like people like me, because I always ask you this, I still have to master the art of doing this, like sincerely doing it. Or other people that are on social media, which basically everybody's on social media, how do they deal with hateful comments or bashers?
In my
Does it
case,
matter? I mean, do you have to allow them to educate you? Because na parang no, educate her, yun yung usual.
Once in a while, I put them in their place. Those are far and apart,
Yeah.
if at all that I do.
Yeah.
Because usually, you have to, as I said, you have to learn to respect what their opinions are, very much like how they're disrespecting,
Yeah.
while some are also respecting yours. Again, if you're out there, then take the good with the bad. If you can't take the bad, then don't be too out there and just limit your exposure to your friends
Yeah.
who love you, who adore you.
Kaya
who
lang,
always
cloth
give you
on
good
cloth, hindi masyadong, hindi ka mag-grow.
Um,
Yung hanggang kaya mo lang, pero kung nababaliw ka na, okay
Again,
na.
if you want to grow, then you have to take the bad as well. You won't grow if everything you get are the good comments.
See, I'm taller now. Shut up! Wait, okay, I know I'm not, you can answer it, we can edit it out. I don't know. I was a bit vocal. Well, you did. You tweeted something about it. It has a lot to do with freedom of speech. It has a lot to do with what makes a person good or bad, or what makes a person a terrorist. I want to know your take, or what do you think about the anti-terrorism bill?
I took a position. I have serious reservations about it, especially if I remember correctly, Section 25, which says that you can be arrested even if you're simply a suspect, as determined by the Anti-Terror
Terrorist
Council,
Council, yeah.
or the ATC. Why is that significant? Because under the Constitution and under the law, you can only be arrested if they have a warrant for your arrest issued by a judge.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't have a warrant of arrest issued by a judge, a warrantless arrest can only be effected under 3 circumstances.
Okay.
1, if you are in the act of committing a crime. May sinaksak ka, kasasaksak mo lang, or nagnakaw ka sa bangko, nandun ka pa, inabutan ka. They can arrest you on the spot
Yeah.
without a warrant of arrest. 2, they are in hot pursuit. You just committed a bank robbery, you escaped, the police are hot on your tail, and it takes them 2-3 days, even a week to
Yeah.
catch you.
But
then they
catch
can
you.
arrest
Yeah.
you without a warrant as well. But it requires that the crime should have been committed fairly recently. Third would be if you're an escapee or you escaped from prison. They don't need a warrant to
Yeah,
arrest you and
because you have
bring
an
you back to
existing
prison.
case.
Because you have an existing conviction
proved,
or
yeah.
pending case. Outside of those 3, they cannot arrest you without a warrant. So that's what makes the law, in a way, problematic. It's not so much the period of detention of 14 days plus 10 days.
But so
more-
much can also happen during the 14 days.
Yes, but some safeguards, to be fair, were placed in the law with respect to informing the judge, informing the Human Rights Commission.
But still, they can still arrest you
That's the problematic
without the
part.
warrant. Now, my question is, they're saying that this is fake news. I read about it and they're saying that, oh, that's not true, or
So
kailangan ng
pinapasa mo
warrant.
yung mga pambabash ngayon sa akin. tapos
Hindi,
pagtestingin
tinatanong
mo.
ko lang kasi because I feel that like when I heard about it, I read up on it. I wanted to speak up and what, but I had to do my own reading, my own understanding about it. But when I had questions, you were the first person that I thought that I could ask that make me understand it in layman's terms. So that's why I'm asking you, the fake news is nga na hindi daw totoo.
No, it is in the law. And the problem is the Anti-Terror Council does not have, or the law did not provide for the quantum of evidence or proof that the Anti-Terror Council should have before they can consider you a suspect. Neither were there any procedures laid out as to how they will vote. Do they vote unanimously before a warrant is before a person is arrested? Is it majority there be a quorum? Is it a majority of 3 out of 5? Whatever, none is stated. Unlike the provision of the Constitution, which is very, very specific.
When you don't have a warrant of arrest and you totally did not know what you did, technically, if ever that is the case, if you fight back, that's also another issue.
Well, if you fight back, it'll be a totally different issue. If you are in self-defense, for example, because you did not know, you did not commit anything wrong, as you usually see on TV right now in the United States, and they tend to fight back, not follow, disobey orders, then you have a problem. And then you have a confrontation.
Most probably the reality is this is going to pass.
Most likely, I think, and most likely too, it will be questioned before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will have to decide on the constitutionality not only of the entire law, but specifically of that provision, which for me runs counter to two constitutional provisions, which is to inform you of the nature and cause of the accusation against you. They cannot just pick you up and not tell you why they are. And two, because of the constitutional provision on warrantless arrests and the issuance of a warrant, which is very specific as well. If they provided for certain standards and quantum of proof in relation to a judge issuing a warrant, all the more to someone who is not a judge and is a political appointee. And all of the members of the Anti-Terror Council are political appointees, coterminous to whoever the sitting president is or will be.
For example, it's kunwari you're part of like this barkada, right? And then you're no longer friends with them, but you had pictures with them and you were part of that, you can be a suspect. Again,
there are no definitions. It's too broad. And that's what makes it worrisome. Now, if they placed limitations, procedures in order to constitute what they call a valid delegation of legislative power to the ATC, then probably it can withstand constitutional scrutiny by the Supreme Court. But then again, the Supreme Court, as they say, is the court of last resort. If the Supreme Court makes a mistake, it nevertheless becomes part of the law of the land. And because they're the final arbiter.
I mean, I want to point out that in other countries, their laws are actually more extreme. But it's done in a way that it's safe for...
It's a question. It's not really safe. It's a question of confidence, I guess. It's a question of the level of confidence of the people in their government, the level of confidence they have in their institutions. How independent and free are our courts? How independent and free are our uniformed personnel? Will they obey an illegal command? So on and so forth. So it depends how long these institutions have been working and how high their level of confidence is that these institutions will actually be able to balance two competing interests. On the one hand, prevent terrorism or any terror attack. On the other, protect innocent civilians and those who may be falsely or wrongfully accused because of whatever motive those in power may have.
Because I'm for a safer country, of course I'm for that. But then what do you think they can do? Like, if you can revise it, how would you revise it?
Just that provision.
And that says it all.
You can extend the period of detention before a case can be filed against you, because sometimes it's difficult to gather evidence, especially if you're really a good terrorist. But I think that should suffice without giving necessarily the power to arrest quote-unquote suspects, or at the very least provide procedures by which a suspect is defined and determined, and transparency rules as to how these suspects are being identified or will be identified. Again, it's a question of confidence building. I think government should, instead of fighting or arguing with people saying you're wrong or you're right, it's fake news, they should just simply build confidence that this law will not be abused, that this law, even if it should pass, will be subjected to constitutional scrutiny by the Supreme Court, and that they will obey.
Okay, so, I mean, but we're not them. So what can we do? We can't do anything.
I think a lot of people will be filing cases before the Supreme Court to question certain provisions of the law, for sure. That is almost a certainty.
And like for some people, because we feel obviously that it will be passed, what can you say that would probably ease, if there's any way to ease their frustrations and their fear about this bill?
As with any law that you don't like, or as with any law that you initially liked but later on turned out to be bad law, then you go to Congress and you make known your position or opinion so that Congress will be convinced to either amend, repeal, or abrogate the law in its entirety.
Okay, so this is like, it can be about that bill, it can be about everything that's going on right now in the world and in our country. And a lot of people are feeling frustrated, and you know, these are really, really hard times. And I mean, like me, I acknowledge being privileged, and there are a lot of people also out there that are watching that. What can they do? Like, how can they have a voice, or how can they help, or what can they do to have a purpose in someone's life with what's going on today? I mean, what can make your actions matter, seen or not seen?
A simple phrase, it always adds up. So if you think you're minuscule, that anything you do won't really matter, and if everyone thinks that way, then nothing will really happen. But if you do it in your own little way, whatever you do will add up to what I will do, what this other person, that other person will do. And if indeed it is worth fighting for, and if indeed it is a just cause, then you will find yourself together with millions or hundreds of millions all over the world fighting for the same cause. Very much like what you're seeing perhaps in the US right now. Nobody's organizing these rallies. All of a sudden it just sprouted in each and every state. People from various persuasions, various ethnicities coming together.
There's a spark in their heart.
Coming together simply because of what they saw. And it's struck a bone in their body that says this is unjust. And all of a sudden they came together. So same thing.
And if, like, for example, people that aren't really out there, that are afraid to be out there, you know, some people have reservations of joining a rally or, you know, being really active with the political scene. Like for me, I mean, I'm very frustrated because, you know, I also have my political beliefs and stand, and sometimes we don't clash, but, you know, you're also very careful for me, ganyan. Like, there are some people that are watching that are, you know, have parents that are worried. How can they make a difference with what's going on in the political arena?
For those who can vote, vote. For those who can speak, for those who have a voice, and the internet gave each and every one of us a voice now, unlike before. Only politicians, only popular personalities had a voice. Now actually the internet
Everybody
empowered everyone through your voice. There's a saying about growing old. When you were younger, you wanted to change the world. As you grew older, you wanted to change only your country or your community. As you grow further older or down the line, all you wanted to do was change yourself, and you still couldn't do it. So the same is true here. You can always start either at the top, try to change the world, or start at the beginning. Change yourself first. So insofar as this fight is concerned, or any fight for that matter, if it's a lonely quote-unquote fight, then you start with yourself, and you don't have to be out there. You just answer when you're asked. If you're not asked, then you don't answer. You keep the fire burning in yourself, keep it in your head, and hold firm to that belief and those principles, because who knows, you may be given an opportunity sometime to voice them out.
Guwapo mo, no? Gwapo ka! Ang galing-galing mo talaga. Pero totoo, it makes so much sense. Like, okay, for example, I'm so excited with my next question. It's about voting. Before, when I was younger, I didn't know how important it was to vote. In fact, I didn't even register myself to vote. I was totally like lost and doing my own thing. I guess I was still in that stage at the bottom where I was still getting to know myself. And now that I know how powerful my vote is, can we talk about that, like the next elections? I mean, everybody spends so much money. I mean, I'm sure you know this, with ads, with whatever. What can they do? I mean, for me, a mere ad or a recall of the name, for me, obviously, because I know better now, it's not enough. What can they do to make sure that the candidate that they're going to vote for is really deserving to be there? Because at the end of the day, we choose our leaders, so we can't really, you know.
Older politicians, meaning 2 generations ahead of me, used to believe that good news or bad news is still good as long as you spell my name right. That was the time when you would write the name of the candidate in the ballot. Now you just shade beside the circle of the candidate's name. Now with the advent of internet, bad news is bad news. And sometimes it's the bad videos or the bad news that goes viral. Rarely, if at all, do you see a good video about a politician that's going viral, if it's good. But for those who are not interested in voting and yet keep on complaining, remember, we deserve the leaders that we get. I often hear people who are well-educated, who are rich, who live in the big houses and expensive villages. Why did he win? You know, the people are so ignorant. They keep on saying that. Then if they are, then you should have gone out of your way to
get out of that bubble.
To educate, to teach people the way you do. Because at the end of the day, that's why it's so wasteful whenever people don't vote. Whoever they vote for, it doesn't really matter, whether I'm a candidate or not. Because at the end of the day, it is only during election time. And I'm yet to find out another time that, if at all, we would be equal. It is only during election time that we are truly equal. Whether you're a Heart Evangelista or Jeka or Resty or Kino, all of you have one vote each.
Yeah.
Whether you're rich or poor, sexy or not, male, female, LGBTQ, all of us have one vote each. Young or old, as long as you're 18 and above, your vote, if counted properly and correctly, of course, would be equivalent to one.
Yeah.
Even if you're a candidate, even if you're the candidate for president, you still have only one vote. Even if you're a popular actress that can endorse products that will sell 1 million pieces, still you have one vote. So it's a shame, to say the least. It's completely wasteful if people don't vote. And in political science, I was taught by my political science professor, because I asked what I thought was a stupid question at that time. I go, in elections, in a democracy, why does majority win? Why can't the right win? Why can't the intellectuals be given the chance to decide what's best for the country? Why do you give each and every person one vote?
Yeah.
The answer he gave me was that it's not a coincidence that you follow the rule of the majority, because in most countries, it's the majority who are poor, it's the majority who need help.
Yeah.
And if it's truly one person, one vote, then you owe your victory to them. And hopefully, if you win, you will serve them as well. So it feeds itself, which does not happen all the time, though.
With the remaining 2020, what do you think is going to happen?
Last time when you asked me, I said, you should adapt to change. Now, this is one of the biggest changes. This COVID-19 pandemic, brought about one of the biggest changes in the lives of everyone in the entire world.
Yeah.
With the lockdowns and all, with the recession that's upon us, it will change a lot of lives, and it will change a lot of things. What you were planning for the rest of the year, for example, traveling, is over. So I guess what you should expect in 2020 would be, for the rest of 2020, would be to adapt to the new normal. To adapt that COVID-19 will be here, that we have to protect ourselves against it until a vaccine and or a cure is invented. For example, tuberculosis, which kills thousands, hundreds of thousands of people in the world. It's actually contagious, and there's no vaccine against it up to now. But people have adjusted to the fact that that disease is there. They know how to deal with it, and they know how they can possibly get it.
Yeah.
So they try to minimize opportunities by which they would get it.
Dengue.
The same is true with dengue. Every year, more people die of dengue, in the Philippines at least, I know the stats here, than so far COVID-19. But that does not mean we should ignore COVID-19 as well. But we have lived with dengue. We're used to dengue.
To dealing.
So adjustments were made already that are part of our lives already.
Yeah.
So I guess the same is true for COVID-19. We will adjust. This new normal will be part of our way of life, and we will ignore it. Ignore it in the sense that it won't take too much out of you to actually address the problem of COVID-19, because it's part of who you already are.
Looking forward to 2021.
A vaccine or a cure to put an end to all of this madness.
Yeah. For you, what do you look forward to life, 2021?
Always peace of mind.
Same. Me too. Oh my God.
Talaga?
Yes. Struggle kaya. But yeah, peace of mind for everyone.
Always peace of mind. Why? However successful or unsuccessful you may be in any undertaking, as long as you have peace of mind, meaning to say your success wouldn't change you for the worst, the absence of success also won't make you feel depressed, then you're good.
The whys, the ifs, the hows, and whats by my boyfriend-girlfriend, Chiz Escudero. Oh my God, thank you so much for this. You always make my content so great. And I hope that a lot of people will be enlightened from this adulting with Chiz. And for those of you that are going through something and so many questions, I hope anyway we were able to brighten up your day and answer a few questions. This was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and day, sir. It's so nice to meet
Mami.
you. I'm such a fan ever since 2007. Anyway, if you want to become part of our family, you could like and subscribe. This has been Heart Evangelista Escudero. I'll see you again next time. God bless you guys.